Hello, this will be at least a short series of Cinema 4D tutorials, and I'm just going to start from the very beginning, and I will be teaching as we do. So I was thinking about making something very simple using the simplest tools now, and I thought of making some sort of weapon model, perhaps automatic rifle, something like AK-47 or something like that. Um, First of all, I'm going to tell what kind of controls you use to navigate. When you hold down Alt and press the left trigger of your mouse, you can rotate. It will rotate from the object where you are targeting with your cursor when you're moving. With the right, when Alt is held down, you will zoom in and zoom out. With the scroll wheel pushed, when Alt is down, you will pan. And if you click the scroll wheel when you're not in the holding down Alt down, you will go and see the front and right views. Here we will select this. I will go through these as we go, but for now we will summon for us a cube. You can click and hold to get all the preview models, and now we want the cube. So let's make that, and depending how much you played around with the window, so you would have something like that. If you press the S key, it will zoom into that active object which you see here. This is our cube now, and we have the use model mode, so we will be seeing we will be selecting the whole model. And when you can change the settings in here, but for now we want to see the lines, so we will go on current shading lines. Current shading is it shows the lightning near somewhere more realistic to the end result than quick shading and constant shading. Depending on what kind of computer you have, you might wanna use constant shading or quick shading when doing something more complex. But for now, let's just do current shading and lines. As you do that, you see these black lines. It's showing our polygons, and when we rotate, you see the lines. Since the cube is made from 6 polygons, let's just make this stock of the weapon. You don't need, depending how you want to do it, you can change when it's still an object, cube object. You can change the segments in Y, Z and X. Let's set Y to 2 and Z to 3. We can also change the size of the model, and in X size we want to make it a little slimmer, like around 75 centimeters. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this to polygon object. You can do that by pressing C on your keyboard, or make editable, shortcut C. Also, if you click it on the lineup, you can make editable, but C is the shortcut for that one. Now we can select points, edges and polygons. Polygon, select this, selecting one of the polygons. pressing down Control and clicking removes selections, pressing Shift down and clicking lets you select more. The live selection tool, shortcut 9, lets you select by clicking and holding down and just drag and select. Here you see only select visible elements. While that is on, it won't select these, but let's see when I click the only select visible objects off, and now it's completely selected. By pressing Control and holding Control and A, you can select everything. Clicking anywhere else deselects everything. For now, let's go to select points. Let's select all by holding down Control and pressing A. Then we press T or go to the third option of the tools, which is Scale. Let's drag it out. When you can free drag it, or you can press down Shift and drag it when it clips on every 10%. And okay, I just dragged it to 200% of its original size, and as you can see in C, it's 400 centimeters from the original 200 centimeters. Okay, let's make some kind of stock here. So what we are going to do, we are going to make this end smaller and this end larger. This would be the end that is towards your shoulder. So let's live selection tool. When you click and hold here, you see 8 of your previous tools that you have used. This can come in handy when you're using a knife, lasso, and a lot of different tools. When, for example, simulating hair, brush, trim, cut, select hair, things that you would have to go through the settings. You can also, when you're holding your key here and release here, you can get every window you want out like that. So if you know you're going to use something a lot, then this is something that you might want to do. Let's select the reticle selection and points. Let's tick off the select visible elements, so we can select the stuff on the background. Scale from T, the green one, which stands for Y-axis, drag and scale to 70. Select the end, T again. I'm pressing space. Space switches between your previous tools, as I'm using the reticle tool selection, and pressing space it changes to scale back. But let's scale this to 130. Select these. 120. Now it's 170 if I remember correctly. 120 and 100. No, 110, 120. Select the up row like this. When you press the scroll wheel, you get the different points, and from here you could select on the right viewpoint like this, and as long as you have only select visible elements ticked off, you will select the behind objects too. Let's go to the right window. Clicking scroll wheel while your mouse is in some window toggles on the window. Let's press R, which is the rotate tool. In here, right view, you have the same axes, but the one most visible is the red one, X. This holds the same style. The further away you drag your cursor, the more precise degree you can change, but when you're holding shift, it again toggles between 10 rotations. Let's rotate it for 10, and let's select these three first ones. Drag down 10, and just select the first one and drag down 40. Select all on the end, drag down 60. Press T or scale tool. Select the y-axis 120%. E. E is a move tool. It lets you select single points, edges, polygons or objects and move around them. Be sure to move around with the green arrow Y and not in some between, because this will move it, and in at least in here on right window you can't see the axis moving, so it can mess up a little bit. If it does, just press Ctrl and C. But as I move it down, it aligns pretty nicely here. It doesn't have to be perfect here. And let's go back to perspective view. This would be the stock. We wanna put a little bit more of the stock. This would be the part that is against your shoulder, as I said previously. Let's go to the polygons move tool, select this and press and hold shift and select the one below. Right click and you get a list of tools that you can use here. You can use more tools, but these are the most common tools, so these are the default options. Select B shovel if you wanna scale the extrude a little bit, but or actually let's going to do, yeah, people tool. Click and drag. It extrudes a little bit and it scales down or up depending on the way you drag it. Then I select extrude like this. This would be the part that would be sticking onto the weapon's body. I'm going back to the right screen, selecting my cube because it was deselected. I'm going to select points, rentacle selection, select all these, and moving a little bit up, 20 centimeters. I'm going to select these. I'm going to zoom in. The same controls for moving in the screen apply in here. Let's do it like this. Let's press R for rotate for 10 degrees. I'm just going to freely align it. When I click this corner here, it lets me move between Y and C at the same time. Okay. what we are going to do, we are going to do subdivision surface. It will create a lot of subdivisions to the polygons, which means it will be making more tiny little polygons between the polygons and smoothing it out. You can press it and it will become on the list, or you can press hold control and press subdivision surface. If we would have multiple tools, you would see that this would pop always onto the selected one, like that. Now we have the subdivision surface modifier here. What you wanna do is drag the cube to the subdivision surface, and this happens, it smooths it a lot. Here you can, if you select the subdivision surface, you can select how much it subdivides. I think I want a subdivision editor means how it will be shown in the editor, and subdivision render tells how it will be shown in the editor. When it's the same as in editor, you will see the same result when it's rendered. You can select different styles, types of subdividing here, but we are not going to touch them now. I think I'm going to stick with 2 now. And as you can see, when I go to a cube object, it still shows me only the polygons that are what we made. It doesn't show the ones in subdivision surface, and if you click here, it will toggle the subdivision surface off. Let's keep working on the stock. I'm going to move this a little bit. Just, you don't have to do it exactly as I make. I'm just going to play around a little bit here with the same tools that we went through just now. I'm using the rentable selection on perspective mode. When using a selection tool like this in perspective mode, please be careful, because you might pick up a single point somewhere. Just selecting the middle points, pushing it in, gives this nice V shape what would fit to your shoulder. Let's pull back the lower one a bit. Actually, let's create a new polygons there. You can go to Edge tool. Let's deselect by just dragging there. Right click and knife. You can also select knife by pressing J and K. J, K. Here are multiple modes how to cut the lines. What the mode we are going to use is loop. Loop, just as the name suggests, loops around. We are going to want to make a loop cut here that lets us define more the edge there. Let's create another loop cut there and select move tool again and points. As you can see, we have more points here, more polygons here. Let's go to the right. I'm going to select these, pushing them closer to these ones, so it will create more of a curve there. That doesn't look as nice as I would thought. Select tool, loop selection, points, loop selection. It selects whole loop here. Press E and let's move it a little bit, and now it's more not such edgy. It doesn't create a unnatural edge there. I also wanna make a little hole here or engraving, so I'm going to select my knife tool, JK, loop 1, 2, 3. So we have, when I select cube polygons and move tool, I can see we have this 3 of a row here, 1 very slim and 2 a little bit larger. I'm going to select the loops tool again. UL is the shortcut for that. Click here and press T. And you can do it like that, like this, by scaling. When you just click anywhere and scale, it will scale overall. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to Control C and get rid of that, and I'm going to select extrude inner. This creates a new polygons there. Okay, there's some kind of problem there. Let's see. UL. Nothing seems wrong. Extrude. Yep, the edges aren't connected there, so there's this kind of error happening. As you can see, it doesn't happen on the bottom of it. It's just the top of isn't connected. There's a hidden line there. Let's turn off the subdivision surface and go to the line edge selection tool. And click here, drag. No problem there. We can just Control A, right click, optimize, and see if that fixes the problem. We still have the loop selection, and as you can see, here it is connected, here it isn't connected. So Control C to get rid of that extrusion. What I'm going to do here is to pull this one up. Actually not. UL, loop selection, polygon. Loop selection again. I just checked if it happens on the other one. I'm going to do this. I'm going to extrude it out a little bit. Then I'm going to edge mode, move, select this one, and I'm going to melt. I'm going to select this and breach, creating a new there, and check how the polygon goes here. Okay. Select these two, melt. Actually no, I'm going to press Ctrl C and retrieve everything as it were. Select this and pull this one out. Going to do the same thing on the other side. selecting the blue one, it's between Y and X, like that. UL, polygons, select these, and now extrude, and now it extrudes in. But we don't want to do that, because as you can see it clips, it goes through the other objects. So Ctrl C to get rid of that. Let's do extrude inner, and you can see it kind of simulates what we did with the knife tool between the tree here. And now we extrude. And we got a fine line there, and when we put on the subdivision surface we got something like this. Now when we subdivide, you can see it leaves ugly corners here. Let's select, I'm going to select live selection, only select visible elements, and clicking the scroll wheel and moving mouse to left or right changes the radius. Just going to select everything here, select everything here, then press down shift and select everything here, and then I'm going to scale it down in every angle, actually, yep, and move it in. Optimize there didn't do anything. Optimize is when there's polygons colliding. It can sometimes melt them together and fix these kind of problems, but there isn't seem good. Doesn't seem like there is a problem like that right now. Ctrl C to get it back to the previous state. Rentacle selection. Only select visible elements off, so I can select everything here. These both. And let's do so that we select the ones on the other side too. Now down. And scale to -100. Scale in this way, 70%, and when you have selected both sides, it symmetrically moves them closer to each other. Oh, that 70 went too far, so let's put it back a little bit, 120. Select this, I'm just clicking these points now, and hold down shift and select these two, and scale to 90. Okay, we have it a little bit smoothed down now. Let's turn off the current shading lines and change the current shading. And we can see we have a little bit of edge here now. Let's go to right view. Select subdivision surface off so we can work freely here. And select those and press down shift and select those. Now we have that complete edge selected. Turn subdivision surface on and go to scale tool, and now just scale it to I'm just scaling it to my own preference. I'm going to change the end here a little bit, drag this down a little bit more. Just like that. I'm just in mind, if you haven't noticed, I'm not following any kind of guidelines here. I'm just trying to make going through the basic tools here to create the shapes. That would be my stock there. Now we want to make materials. Just double click here and select the material. This doesn't look the exactly same if you're using a previous version of Cinema 4D, but since I'm using Cinema 4D R16, the reflectance add is here instead of specular. But we can just leave it be there. I'm going to go. I can create a video from Cinema 15 and 16 about materials later. Let's go to color. We are not going to do anything fancy now. We are just going through the very basic. Let's select. Let's actually make it dark red, and color is just the base. Just go to diffusion and apply it. Texture, noise. As you can see in the preview, you just mess around with these, and if you're trying to do something exact, you can pretty much Google everything. There are a lot of pre-made materials for free to use. If you are going to use those instead of making your own, or you can just download them and modify them to your own use. Let's select let's press the noise, and we can go inside there. Let's select from the noise tab. Let's check some noise. This will be what it looks. Let's select cell noise, and we can right click this and huge. If that is not large enough for you, you can select open window and drag it to your own side. Okay. You can change the colors of the how it works. I'm going to just to show how it changes. I'm going to combine red and teal. Let's make that teal too. So, well, now it goes very dark. To have lighter color there. Space, texture. This depends on how the diffusion noise in this case will be added onto it. Let's just leave it to a texture now. Global scale. How small of a texture we are wanting there. Let's make it even 50. And we can leave it to that. There's a lot of pre-noise textures. Actually, I'm going to take this one. This looks cool. If you're using R16 and you go to reflectance, it will look like this. Default specular. We can select here from GGX and metal. It will take down the colors, but it will look when it's rendered. Additive, maximum. These are, you can always right click, show help, and it opens the manual, and everything is very clearly from every subject in here. And since you can bump right to the right parts, it's environment, cube, show help. It's just that makes Cinema 4D one of the most easily approachable 3D modeling programs. But let's just say I'm happy with my texture now. I'm just going to drag it here and drop there. Texture bar will be shown on the object list. Render view. It will look like this. Let's zoom in a little bit, or rotate a little bit, and let's select the cube of material here and press delete. I don't want the texture to be here. I want this to be part of the body's material. So I'm going to select polygons and rectangle. Actually, I'm going to select live selection tool. Click off, only select visible objects, and paint everything that I want to be textured with this one. And now with this, I drag the material to the selected, and now it created polygon selection 1. It's this selection, and this material selection, polygon selection 1. UV mapping, it's another kind of project, and it depends on how you UV map your model. That's a completely different thing again. But if you select cubic, it will be shown in more straight pattern. Seamless, it doesn't have the edges. Both sides, in and outside. Outside is front, inside is back. Let's name it both. Even though we are not seeing the backside, since the backside is inside this cube. Mixed textures, if you have multiple textures. Let's create a little bit of lightning. You have prefix lightnings here. Hold down and let's make a spotlight. It appears here as everything. Rotate, everything what we have gone through applies here. E, move tool. R was rotation, if you forgot. Holding down Alt to move my settings here. And let's just see this. It applies light to that point, and it only shows that point. Let's rotate this a little bit. Drag it down with the Z-axis. Select the light. Shadows. These are a lot of this. I'm going to show you in example. Let's have a cube for a background there. Oh, editable. Select all and see. Create sunlight. Okay, yeah. My sun isn't up at 9 p.m. anymore because I'm in Finland. Shadow map soft. As you can see, it's a soft map. Ray traced hard area. I'm going to delete that sun there. Spot, you can change the light here, area. Let's select shadow matte soft. Change the color of the light to a slight bluish. Details, everything is here for you to change. Just assign this a little differently. There we have a very simple render. The reason why I created the cube here is to show you the shadows, because you won't be seeing those otherwise. I'm going to delete it now, and the one where's floor, hold down, and background. It doesn't change anything, but when you render, you have a background. Let's change the background color. Just create a new material and drag it to background and render, and that's your background color now. Simple render settings, edit render settings. You have every simple output settings here. Save, where do you want to save it, how you want to save it. Multipass for rendering in multiple layers. Diffuse, specular, shadow. For example, if you're editing this for a movie or with any kind of other whatever, After Effects or Nuke or everything like that, multipass is ordered in those. Anti-aliasing for gamers especially is familiar. It makes the edges more soft. If I'm going to none, it's very rough. Geometry is the basic, and it's usually enough. I don't think in this case we are going to see difference even on the best setting. And as you can see, it takes a lot more time to render. As you can see, I don't personally see difference between that and geometry. Option, what do you want to render and how? Stereoscopic theme render, these are just your 3D renders. And effect. In effect you can change a lot by, for example, ambient occlusion makes shadows a little bit more. I'm going to render in picture viewer. This is a rendering window, so I'm going to render. It saves the file here. This is with ambient occlusion. I'm taking it off, rendering again, and you can see with ambient occlusion it creates automatic shadow here. Without it, there isn't. With more complex features, it can make it a lot more beautiful with quite a not effort. Let's make a very simple animation to end this. I'm not even going to include a camera. I'm just going to select the light, move it here. So I want to see a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to select the light, general, and select a spot again. You can change intensity, inner angle, outer angle, fall off. Let's change the coordinates. No, where was it? Yep, select model select. Move this, you get these in model selection. Say it a little bit. Let's select record active objects. I'm selected light and it creates a keyframe to 0. Let's move this to 60. Actually that was a yep. Rotate it like here. Just and record. Now it has a slide animation. Let's change the frames to from 0 to 60 and render in picture viewer. Oh, we have the single frame render output. All frames will be from 0 to 90. Preview range 0 to 60. We changed the preview range to 60 just now. Click render the picture viewer. Yes, it's just the software tells us that we won't have it saving anywhere because I didn't add save file, and now it has rendered already because it's just a simple render. But you can see here the light just moves here. This is a very simple still animation. We will be I hope I will be making more of these tutorials, and I will be making more advanced tutorials too if people are in need. I have worked with Cinema 4D a lot, also with ZBrush and Maya. I have the newest project that I had was my newest project was this one, and this one took a little bit work in After Effects, and put the hair, the model, the animation is made in pretty simple ways. It didn't take too long to make. It's just the hair dynamics. There's a little bit rendering problems. You could just Photoshop those, but the model itself looks like this in Cinema 4D. There's eyelashes, eyebrows, hair, back hair, cloth with cloth dynamics, cameras for different angles. This is basically and I should just show it you. That to this. This is a little bit more advanced, if I were to say. I have here eyelid slider. I'm going to turn off the hair. the cloth so I can show this properly. This is just the slider, which you can see I have animated the eyelashes, eyelids to move rapidly, to blink, and just like twitch a little bit, as it would be like eye soreness or something like that. Then I have angry face, what I have modeled it, and this is again something just very simple that I can rapidly move and just make it seem like a struggle. But I thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this, please leave a comment, critic, what would you like to see, and what kind of tutorials, and how I could improve myself with these, because I really wanna be helpful for you, and I wanna produce quality videos for you to watch. Leave a like, dislike if you liked or disliked, subscribe for more videos like this, gaming videos, art videos overall, and have a great winter and a Christmas overall.